What is something that can help with overthinking? Trusting yourself. Overthinking is a lack of trust.
I know I intend for the content on this page to be about the things that I do or have done as a teacher. That's why it's called Ms. Cannon Teaches ELA. But one of the things that I used to tell my students is that I'm not a teacher. I'm actually a mentor. And a lot of the work and the results that I was able to help my students achieve was because I was very much that, a mentor. And so I wanted to share this video I just came across because I feel like this is a lesson that my fellow teachers need to see, as did I. This year, a lot of the, longer than this year to be very, very frank, but a lot of the things that I have had to struggle and fight and deal with have been as a result of mistrusting myself or distrusting myself. Let me put it that way. I didn't mistrust me. I distrusted me. I quit teaching 3 times. 3 times. Once in 2015, once in 2018, and once finally in 2020. And I'm not gonna lie. If my certification hadn't run out, I probably would have run back because the economy is just really, really difficult. I was great at my job. I won't even say I was good at it. I was great at the interior classroom part. The administration part, not so much. Your girl got in trouble quite often because I was an undiagnosed ADHD woman. And the amount of trouble I got into for being 10 minutes late or 15 minutes late to clock in, not to get to class, it did eventually bleed into that because of passive aggression, passive rebellion. But grading, all that paperwork, I felt like I chose the wrong subject. Like, why did I become an ELA teacher? Like, I had no idea how much paperwork would need grading. And when you think about it, we're supposed to be turning in 2 grades per week, 100 and something students a week, times 2. It was overwhelming. I carried that bag home out of guilt every single day, every single weekend, every single week, every single 9 weeks, and eventually graded at a glance. But I will say my grades were still very accurate because I paid attention to what they did in class and what they produced in class, not that other stuff. And like I said, I would have run back by now because life got extremely, extremely hard when I finally got diagnosed. And I don't know if anybody else has been through this, but when you finally get the validation of diagnosis, and you start to realize you have been operating out of alignment this whole time, this is why life has been so hard for you. Your body goes, okay, now that you finally caught up, brain, to what we've been saying, I'm resting. And so for 3 years, I went into involuntary rest. We call it burnout. I was building a business and also, teaching until 2020. But I was in burnout. In fact, I actually went on leave of absence 2 months before the pandemic started. In January, I went on leave of absence, caught COVID 2 weeks after I left. So yay, I took it home from work because I worked in one of the hot pockets of the hot spots of Georgia, which was Fulton County. And so I ended up catching COVID actually pretty bad, just not knowingly bad enough to have gone to the hospital. If I did, I probably would have I don't know. But anyway, but I actually went on leave of absence because in January, I was crying. Kids will leave the classroom, school ends, I'm crying. I get to work, I'll sit in the car, I'm crying. I stay at work from 4 to 6 because I just need to decompress from having to be on, to mask, to breathe. because as good of a teacher I was, as great as a teacher I was, they kept giving me the most difficult students I could possibly get, short of having to teach special ed. Like, yeah, I'm talking about needing co-teachers type of students. And a lot of those students, it was because, people counted them out or just didn't teach them right. Being that I was undiagnosed ADHD, I actually had some coping mechanisms that I taught students how to do, like how to read out loud, read it again, chunk it, pretend like your reading is a game of Sonic. And so write marginal notes so that it's like you created a benchmark and won't lose all your coins when you get lost, so you can just go back and look on the marginal notes. Like, y'all, I did everything. I would make up drawings to explain things. When we're writing sentences, I would say, hey, I need burgers and fries. All you gave me was a burger. Where are my fries? Or I would say, I didn't even get a drink. So, and each one of those things represented some other part of the paper. Like, you gave me this dry formulaic paper, thank you for my burgers, but I want my fries. Not my fries, I want my drink, because the drink is where the creative stuff came in. Anyway, a bit of a digression there, but I would cry. And I went to my doctor and she was like, what's going on? And I just boo-hooed. And she wrote in there, depressed, and anxiety, and signed off on me to have a leave of absence. The problem is, it took me months to get a therapist because they had months long waiting list for them. So I actually didn't get one till like 2.5 months after I was out of work. Now, I will tell you, if I had known a pandemic was coming, I would have stayed, because I would have gotten paid during that time. I just would have sucked it up. I never let it show in my classroom. Let me say that. I always, like I said, the mask, I was very good at masking. So the mask was in place, but it was starting to mess with me digestively, like the anxiety. And oh, you need to answer this parent. The parent literally just wrote me at like 10 o'clock at night. I have 48 hours to get to her. I got other things to do, Or I had a senior one time in my 10th grade classroom. Oh God, I need to save that. I need to save that for a different video. But I had a senior in my 10th grade classroom. And this girl, let me just say, she never applied herself, because I won't talk to any intelligences whatsoever, but she never applied herself. And so, like, I showed an example of what I'm looking for to the class, right? We were making our own mandalas or something, masks. Actually, I think we were making our own masks, because we were reading, we wear the masks appropriately. And this girl literally copied everything I put on mine. Everything on mine. And then I had to go be in a parent-teacher conference where her mom cussed me out because I didn't say explicitly her daughter could not copy my paper. Her daughter copied a statement that was on my paper that was about me, my symbols that were about me, when she was supposed to be making stuff about her. Are you kidding me, man? That was like, yeah, I need a break. And so I took a leave of absence. And the pandemic happened. And then I had to come back because they denied my disability. And we were in the throes of the pandemic. And as an introvert, I loved being online. It was fine. It's just the students cheated. It's not hard to go and inspect a website to grab the correct answers. So they were cheating the whole time, or they didn't come, and you couldn't get mad because you didn't know what was going on in their house because of the situation we were in. And it was just so much expected of teachers and so much expected of students at the same time. Like, some of my kids had to go out and get jobs because their parents got sick or couldn't afford to be laid off from their job, or whatever happened. And it was just a really extremely sad time. But I say this to say, I had to trust myself. And on September the 12th, 2020, I was out. And I need to remind myself why.